For example, I saw the video, I don't know if you guys have seen this, of the man the boy who shot up the Club Q in Colorado Springs. His father went viral, because that's what we do. We make people go viral for ridiculousness, but he went viral because they told this man that his child shot up a club and killed 5 people and injured 18. And this man was like, oh, I heard that he was at a gay club. I don't know what he was doing at the gay club. He's not gay, right? He said, no, he's not gay. I was like, oh, okay. First of all, he was for sure on drugs, and or coming off of drugs, and or, first of all, not all the way there. So, and also wasn't even very present in this boy's life. When I heard, I was like, what? The types of humans that exist sometimes, I'm like, whoa, what? These people exist? Yes, they exist. That's the thing, is like, it's not even like I'm not even flabbergasted by it. I'm always appalled. I'm always deeply like, what the fuck, Because this man truly was more concerned with the fact that his son might have been gay than he was about the fact that he killed people, that he murdered people and harmed people. Like, that's a reality that exists for some people. Now I want you to have to think of the mental anguish, not to justify him, because there's no justification. This is a murder, you know what I mean? Like, no. But when I think about the toxicity of what was coming out of his father's mouth, how are we confused about why these children are getting radicalized and mobilized to harm people? Like, that's where I get confused. It's like, we have people touting these ideologies in office, in elected offices. Now, are they always there because of legal things? No. We don't know what politics are. We all know everybody's backed by that money. And it's about corporate dollars, baby. That's what this is, But those are the foot soldiers, are the people who are uneducated and blinded by their own oppression. Because this man literally was talking about he was a porn star, and he hadn't even talked to his son in forever because his mother had told him, the mother of the son had told him that he hated him and that he killed himself. The mother of the child who shot up the dude that shot up this place, the mom told the dad that he had killed himself because he was so ashamed of him for being a porn star. Like, just think of all the intricacies of psychosis that are involved in this. And that is the deeper issue of a lot of this stuff, is when you suppress your truth, okay? When the truth inside of you is suppressed, you become violent. You become violent. The thought of picking up a gun to murder people who think differently from you, who are different than you, who aren't touching you or hurting you or harming you in any kind of way, you get radicalized to the point where you would pick up a gun in the name of the ideology that criminalizes these people for being themselves. And then we make documentaries about this kid because he's so fascinating. I'm so interested in how this man's brain works. I'm not interested. I'm fascinated in the fact that we have a mental health crisis as a collective in this country. That's what I am interested in. Not interested. I'm concerned. I'm deeply concerned about it. I'm deeply concerned at how I watch people interact with the world through the internet. Like the ways that people what we choose to see, what we choose to go viral. Because viral and all that stuff is just us watching it. And us participating in it and consuming it, you know? I know that it's kind of depressing to think about, but I also want you to think about, see there's like 2,800 of you right here right now with me, in this bathroom with me. And maybe not all of you agree with what I'm saying, which valid, whatever, do you. But, you know, some of you guys are going to hear me. Some of you guys are going to understand. And maybe you can see how you can interrupt these cycles of violent white supremacy in your own home. You know, by creating boundaries, by taking care of your mental health, by choosing to separate yourself from people who might be harmful. Or if you really truly love them and you see the core of who they are and you feel like you can love that out of them, do that. Do that. Like, there's no right way to do it because it's everywhere. It's permeating our consciousness. It's everywhere. It's in the ideology, it's in the programming, it's in everything. So the only thing that we can do when we think about how desperate it feels or how crazy it all feels, like, is how are we interrupting these cycles in real time in our own lives, in our own realities. Maybe just for us, maybe just for ourselves. Maybe nobody else in your immediate family or nobody else in your friend group or nobody else in your community sees this, sees it, you know? But you do. So you can start. You can start the process. It's a hard process. It's a long process. It's a long and hard process. But if you're willing to dedicate yourself to being light in this very grim reality that we're all witnessing and experiencing together, y'all, this has been a whole hell of a last 3 years. I don't know, maybe it's like the closing of this season, maybe it's the winter, maybe it's just like the idea that November is like almost over and we have another year coming. Some of you are so disrespectful. Like these comments, like it's so fucking... It's okay, I came to Instagram to have this conversation, so I can't really expect much more. But I know that there's some of you in here that feel me, so I'm talking to y'all. I come here for y'all, I interact for you guys. But yeah, just figure out how you can interrupt cycles in your own life, in your own reality. Like, just get with the love, dude. Because all of this, like, tension and pain and low vibrational ass energy is so seriously permeating everything right now. But that's what's wanted, you know? If you're kept in fear frequency, you'll stay sick. Emotionally, mentally, physically, all of the above. If you're scared, if you and that's what these systems do, that's what these cycles do, these binaries, they create fear. They create fear, shame, guilt, doubt, worry, pain, suffering. That's all we'll get. from these things. That's all we're gonna get, as long as we keep focusing on the ways that they try to divide us. You know, that's not to say we shouldn't hold space for our differences. That's what makes it also beautiful, is that we all have different stories and experiences and things to offer and wisdom to share. And it's in that expansion and understanding that we're going to actually find some healing on both sides of the spectrum. If men let their guard down a little bit, and instead of wanting to be these like alpha males who have all this money and all of these ways to like be perceived as macho or perceived as strong or perceived as that, and they started to relax into the things that are actually strong, like vulnerability and honesty and loyalty and respect and the wisdom to know when you need to expand, the wisdom to know when you need to learn something from the situation. If more men relaxed into the idea that they didn't have to be or exhibit strength through violence or through superiority complexes, we would probably be living in a much less violent reality. You know? I'm not, and someone said everything is always men's fault. I'm literally not saying that. I'm saying this is the patriarchy's fault. It's not men's fault. I believe that a lot of men have been put into the position where they feel extremely insecure because they maybe don't meet all the requirements, or maybe their true nature isn't what is required of them. And so they overcompensate. And in overcompensating for insecurity, most of the time, I'm just being real, like it's just through observation and through pure experience, right? That need to be bigger, that need to be stronger, that need to dominate a situation for the sake of domination, not for the sake of like, not for the sake of like someone with a plan who like is like motivated and full of life to bring something to life. Like that's not what I'm talking about. Divine masculine is like really special when they tap into their true essence, you know? It's not a man or woman problem is what I'm trying to say. It's a patriarchy problem, and it's a maturity problem, because a lot of men are not required to be emotionally mature, because they're not required to be conscious of the way that they act or move, because patriarchy makes it so that their needs are catered to first and foremost. You know? And women too. Women are in this position as well, where they have to be a certain way, a certain softness, a certain demure, be sexy but not too sexy, be this but not that, be that but not the other, you know? Like it's just these constant things that we have to fit ourselves into to be, instead of just being. And in that like trying to be instead of just being, we build these insecurities. And again, I'm talking about this shit because like I feel it too. Like I have these thoughts, I share these thoughts, not from a space of knowing more, but just from a space of experiencing with, you know? Colonialism and white supremacy is the problem, absolutely. But patriarchy even trumps like white supremacy sometimes, like because sometimes men even have an allegiance to each other regardless of race first, even though, you know, white supremacy will happen. At the end of the day, white men will have each other's back in a way that they won't have anyone else's, but men will also have each other's back in a way that they won't have women's. Like it's like a constant just hierarchy of things. It's like, you know, with everything there's an exception, and it's true. But again, I feel like the patriarchy is the root of the issue. This idea that there has to be like one person in the dominant position and another in a subordinate position. You know? We don't need to do that. We can just like be ourselves and show up with our gifts and honor one another's gifts and create a really special world where people like are aligned with their true selves. Me and my utopia. You know, I have this idea of a utopia where like we can all really be like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. That is something that's a real problem. That is something that people are really experiencing. Therefore, let me just, even though it's not my experience, I can empathize with the fact that that's a very real experience for them. And wow, what can I do to step up so that they can feel safer? Because from my moral standpoint, I want to make people feel safe and loved. Are we always going to do that perfectly? No, that's what most of us are trying to do. Most of us are trying to love and be loved for who we are. But we get caught up in all these facades, and behind the mask, you can't love somebody who's wearing a mask, you know, who can't look at themselves in the mirror and understand where they have a wall up with themselves that doesn't allow them to connect with you, you know? Do I have all the answers? No. When we say smash the patriarchy and all these things, do I know exactly what that looks like? No. But I do know that it would look like the men who resonate with the message of protection and honor, doing that and being that in spaces where it's required of them. If you see something happening that you know is fucked up, say something and do something about it. Show up in your own life in a way that's honorable, you know? And that goes for the women as well, and everybody in between. Fucking binaries, bro. They ruin everything. They ruin everything. We're all living spectrums. Each one of us. Throughout our lifetime, we're going to be spectrums. And anybody who denies it of themselves is in pain. And then that pain has to go somewhere. It's either going to go inside of you and metastasize in your body and become illness, or it's going to go out of you and it's going to permeate somebody else's reality and fuck up their energy. Or, as a third option, you can transmute it. You can transmute it. You can use that energy as creative energy, as sexual energy, as... Those are kind of like, I mean, it all stems, I guess, from creation. And creation doesn't have to be like you make an art piece, you know, or like write a poem. Like creation is like getting in the kitchen and cooking, or like coming up with a workout routine, or planning your whole entire year really methodically. Like, that's creative. There's all kinds of levels to expressions for creativity. We are creative, you know? In our essence. We live in a world where there's like buildings and all these kinds of things that make up our reality. All these systems, all these thoughts, all these ideas, all these, you know, they're all creation. We've created everything. And we can create new realities where we respect one another. And that's not to say that like we can't hold shit accountable. Like we need to hold shit accountable 100%. But making space for nuance is valid and important. for conversations that are actually going to move us forward, you know? Well, that's all I have to say today, so bye. I'm gonna put this on my page for a little bit. Not these motherfuckers in the comments. Oh my god. Y'all, if you're in my comments right now, I just want you to watch this back so you can like, woo. Anyways. Okay, bye. Love you.